Please welcome Bishop Tannehill and the filmmakers Jonathan Stack and Liz Garbus. Bishop Tannehill, before I get to you, I want to start with the filmmakers and ask them, can you talk about the origins of this project, how you got into the prison in the first place?
Through an inmate journalist named Wilbert Rideau. Wilbert had, who you met in the film, had been writing for the ANGOLA for decades. And actually he came to our attention. We were researching a film about a totally different topic, which was about love at first sight. And then when we started, one of the stories that we were researching was about love behind bars and free people falling in love with people in prison and how that sort of worked out. And Wilbert was sort of the original guide into that story. But then, of course, in talking to Wilbert, it became very, very clear that there was a lot more that Wilbert had to introduce us all to.
Angola is a real place. A real place. A place of rehabilitation. A place of a great price.
Well, Wilbert Rideau, again, who was the inmate journalist who you meet in the film, guided us towards many people he knew. He knew people, he knew everybody in prison. He ran the paper there. So he introduced us to Bishop Tannehill. He introduced us to Ashanti Witherspoon. He introduced us to Bones. And then, of course, there were other people who we found for other reasons. We wanted to find someone who was just coming in. And George Crawford, we were waiting at the prison where everybody comes and then gets sent. It's kind of a, what do you call that?
Like an intake.
An intake place, right? And then everybody ships out to different places. And we were, there for a day looking for people and ended up finding George and riding the bus up with him. And that was how we found George, and that was completely happenstance. John Brown, of course, we wanted to deal with life and death in prison and the death penalty, so John Brown had a date, and he was very forthcoming with his story. So it was found sort of by, mostly with Wilbert, and then also just by research.
Well, I was going to say that it's funny because we haven't talked about this so long. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But I do remember that partially we were looking for archetypes. Remember, we were looking for characters who would, ways that you might get out of prison. So you would be executed, you'd be paroled, you get probation, you die. Yeah. And then there was the one other.
Well, we had the idea that we'll have someone coming in and we'll have someone going out.
Yeah,
and we thought maybe Bishop Tannehill would be going out.
No, we thought Ashanti would be going out because he was such the star of the place.
Yeah, so it's been like 17 years since
we've
talked about this. But we knew he anyway. So, but anyway, nobody got out.
Exactly.
That was the thing, and except when when these gentlemen died there. Yeah. But of course now Ashanti has gotten out, and Bishop Tannehill is out, and there are various reasons that happened. But yeah, the getting out part of the story was not something we were able to cover during the 2 years we were there. Or 3 years.
In fact, that's how we ended up with Vincent Simmons, because remember we were going to film Ashanti getting his parole hearing, which we thought was going to be the guy who would maybe get free, and he didn't even have a hearing. So we ended up going to the hearing that there was and just chose whoever showed up. And we met Vincent just the day before his actual hearing.
That's right.
So,
we were given a list of names, like here are 5 guys.
Yeah. It took a while for it to make a difference, and obviously it didn't make a difference to Bones or to John Brown. Definitely for Bishop, it had a huge impact, and for George, it didn't really, but it did. It sort of at least gave him a feeling, and his mom is such a beautiful person, and continues to be a beautiful person, but it's just to have something to hold on to and to know that she tried her best. But really, the film and the filming there has an enormous impact. Actually, I was down when we showed the farm for the first time, and I think it was quite telling. I was looking at George, and I noticed afterwards, I just was interested what he thought of the experience of being in the film, of seeing himself in the movie. And he said something. He said, well, I feel good and I feel bad. I said, well, what do you feel good and bad about? He said, well, I feel good because I kept thinking to myself, if I had been the person that I was in the film when I was out on the street, I wouldn't have ended up in prison in the first place. So it kind of meant thinking of him like, it was like he was seeing a portrait of himself as he wished he were. And it was kind of really interesting, you know, the power of how the story becomes, you know, becomes the thing you aspire to become. I think if you're a subject in a film, it's like, I don't even know what that means. Obviously it's powerful.
And it's funny because people see themselves as they want to be, I mean, I guess in some ways, and so, you know, those folks have all seen the film, and I mean, I never got a nasty
No, or Magritte. He
got kicked off the board.
He threatened to sue at one point. Well, he was like you manipulate. He was telling people that we had manipulated the truth. So I actually sent to him the uncut version of what we shot, which was like there wasn't a lot of cuts in it. So I never heard from him again.
Can a man stay in prison 51 years and be released it and don't be institutionalized? That's the problem that I have today. I run into these errors. And the reason why that I am presented this, because somebody here prays, I appreciate prayers. And I still need help. In a time that you can stay in a penal institution 51 years and be released it out, you're going to have great problems mentally.
I didn't know he'd even gotten out, and then the next thing I knew, he was living on St. Mark's Place, I think, or where literally right, like half a mile from me. So we started hanging out, and we started to do a television little webisode things. It was like Bishop learns to text, Bishop learns to bicycle. You know, we were going out and we keep him busy. It was fun. We had a lot of fun. It's really great having him here, and he's got a great spirit, and it's really fun and it was fun to bring him out here. So thank you, Thom and Liz, for organizing this, because it's just good to get out. And he lives down in. He ended up right over the beach in Coney Island, so I think he did pretty good for himself. At the heart of it, it was just really respecting the people that we were filming, and just, you know, wisdom comes in all forms and shapes, and there was so much wisdom in that in Angola. So, you know, that's the appeal.
You know, this film was made both early in your career, early in Jonathan's career, and picking up on what this one was asking, I wonder, you know, what that experience meant for you making this film.
Yeah, this was a really, really special film. You know, it was, it was a really special film to make, and the wisdom there, you know, I think I learned so much about humanity and also about filmmaking, and I've gone on, you know, Jonathan has made a number of films, you know, continued down there. I've gone on to make films in different prisons and different places and about other folks, but there's a core of, you know, that humanity, I think, that for me I've sort of sought in every film that I've made, and it's about, you know, whether they be, you know, misunderstood, you know, there's all different forms of sort of psychic confinement and physical confinement, and I think, you know, the sort of lesson of you know, that I think Wilbert says that a human being is never equal to their worst action, and understanding the complexity of human behaviors in all their beauty and darkness that I've found in the other films I've made as well.
Thanks very much for coming. Thanks especially to Bishop Tannehill, Jonathan Stack, and Liz Garbus.